want to say to these Detroit fans. So I want to jump into this week's games. I'm going to jump into this week's games, which is going to be, ones that is going to be interesting. It's going to be it wants to be it. It's going to be very interesting. The games is going to be, something of where I think we're going to enjoy. A lot of this weekend games is going to be where it's going to be playoff implications involved. This week's games is going to have a lot of. Let's see what happens in week 10. Week 9 showed some surprises, which few games, yeah, I was surprised about. Few games I wasn't. But again, we're definitely is going to dig deep into that. I do have one of my co-hosts is on here, the ones who's always up in here and doing their thing. Um, and basically listening, and I also want to get their inputs on a lot of the games for this week and a lot of action for last week. So, what is some of y'all inputs on what happened this last week? Are y'all on here? Okay. So what we're going to do is, I was waiting for them to speak. They didn't speak, so let me see what's going on their end. But yeah, we're definitely we're definitely going into week 10, and I'm gonna break some of the week 10 games down for you. I think the first game, the the overseas game, the Colts in Atlanta, that's going to be very interesting. And like I said, with the Colts, I think the Colts is going to be that seed, that number one seed that is going to be coming out. That is going to shock a lot of teams. I think with them being, I think with them being, I'm not going to say that juggernaut, but I am going to say them. I am going to say they are a team that is going to surprise a lot of people. And that's why, with the playoff, the way that I'm doing my playoffs seedings and what I think is going to happen and everything else, I think it is going to be very interesting with what's is going to happen. Um I do think that I do think that it is going to shock a lot of people on how I am doing my um on how I'm doing my picks this year. So in the AFC, my number one seed, I have the Colts. The number two seed, I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs. My number three seed is going to surprise a lot of people. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots are playing good ball. I think the Patriots is going to shock a lot of people. I think the Patriots is going to be one of them teams where they're going to get in, and I think it's going to become a learning experience and everything else. My number four seed is, and I said it earlier, I think it's going to be Pittsburgh. And the reason why I'm going with the Steelers on that particular pick at the number four seed is because I think the Steelers is going to keep doing something that they that isn't expected. They're going to etch their gap on the Ravens. They're going to etch their gap on these other teams that's in their division. So I got them as a number four seed. The number five seed is going to be Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to be on the road. Um, if it's not Buffalo, I will fully entrench Denver at that spot. I think Bo Nix and them is going to play ball, but I think with that coaching staff and what Sean Payton and them is going to do, I think we got to look at that too, as them doing their thing and them, you know, um, I think he's going to show them how to handle their business because he has that championship DNA that everybody talks about. Number six, I'm going to go with Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to, get into the playoffs. I think once they get in there, I think they're going to battle it out in the second round. I'm not sure who they're going to go up against, but I think they're going to battle that out in the second round. And my last but not least, I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers is going to go in. Do I think they may be that doormat? They may not be, but I think the Chargers has a chance to go in and definitely make some noise and get to the second round. I don't think they're going to be one and done like I do other teams, but I do think that they're going to go in and they're going to do their thing in the second round. Now the NFC, Philly, of course, is my number one seed. With I'm gonna go with Green Bay. I think Green Bay is going to win the North and become that playoff team in the North. Tampa in the South. I think Tampa is going to. I think they're going to get challenged, but they're not going to get challenged heavy by um the Carolina Panthers. I don't think Atlanta is there yet, but I think Carolina is going to chase them. I do think that I do think that I do think that if Carolina really pushes, Carolina can get what they want done and Carolina can surprise them and become that team that will, I'm gonna say could make some noise. Now, the question is, will they make a run? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to make a run, but I do think that they're going to make some noise. Um, my number four pick, and I've been contemplating on this one, and I've been doing corn flips on this one, and I've been trying to figure this one out. And I think my number four pick, which Me personally, I'm going to say that this one I thought long and hard about, and it was hard. But I'm gonna go with the Rams. I was going to pick Seattle because of the way that Seattle is playing, but I'm gonna go with the Rams. With that pick. I think the Rams are playing good ball. I think the Rams is going to go in and they're going to shock a lot of teams, especially being a number 4 seed. And if they got to play a number 5 seed, look for the Rams to be that team that is going to, be that team to beat. Um, I think the Rams, I think the Rams is going to, you know, shock some people. I think the Rams is going to, you know, I think the Rams is going to make people beat them. And I think that they're going to be a handful for a lot of teams. Now, the other team that I'm looking at is so my number 5 seed to be Seattle. I think the Rams and Seattle battling out. I think that's going to be a good battle. I think it's going to be one of them battles that you know, it's going to shock people. But I think the Rams is going to be the Rams and Seattle are going to be good teams. My number 6 seed in the NFC, I'm gonna go with man Minnesota. I think Minnesota is going to shock a lot of people. I think they're going to beat Chicago when it comes to that final seeding, that final spot. And I'm going to give it to them at number 6. Number 7 is going to be on how things play out. Number 7 right now, I'm leaving the door open because I got a couple of teams that I don't believe is going to get in at 7. I think they're going to get close, but they're not going to get there. So 7, I'm going to leave open for right now, and we'll discuss that next week on why I left 7 open and what do I think, especially after this week's slew of games that we got coming up. Um and I think with I think some of these picks and everything else is going to be totally shocking to us when they happen. Um but like I said, it's gonna be very interesting. As you can see, the first game, I think I picked Denver for the first game, and Denver, I thought Denver was going to put up way more points than Denver didn't. So that's why I said I think after this week, a lot of things is going to change. Um, and so with that being said, I want to see what Baltimore is going to do. Baltimore has a tough game against Minnesota this week. Um, you let the Baltimore fans tell it. That's where they're going. They're going to go with Baltimore. They're going to think, but I think this coaching staff in Minnesota is going to surprise. It's going to, you know, coach up a good game. I think they're going to coach a game where they're going to have Baltimore. They're going to have Baltimore on their heels, and they're going to have Baltimore. They're going to have Baltimore where Baltimore is going to probably be running for their I'm not going to say their lives, but they're going to be, under a lot of pressure, especially the way Brian Flores brings the pressure. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be, something that, I'm definitely going to be checking out in that early 1 o'clock window. Um, Another one that I want to check out is I want to see Tampa and New England. That's going to also be a good game. Um, and it's going to show where's Tampa's at. Um, well, it's not going to show where Tampa. It's going to show where New England is. New England. I'm gonna say they're 2 games away from a guaranteed winning season, and that's going to be a very intriguing game. I think two other intriguing games. Well, three other intriguing games is going to be San Fran and the Rams, um, Pittsburgh and the Chargers, and also Green Bay and Philly. They're going to be, them are going to be the games that I really want to watch, especially that Monday night game. I want to see how Green Bay, do the Sunday night game, the Chargers and the the Steelers, and then the Rams and the 49ers. I want to see that too. America's game of the week, for some they gave that to Washington, Detroit. I think with Jaden not being there, I do think it's going to be a very intriguing, you know, game because of the fact Marcus Mariota, he's been up and down. Let's see if he can, put his big boy pants on and definitely take it to that next level. San Francisco and the Rams, that is basically it's gonna be a battle for that division on who's gonna be on top because you got Seattle at 6-2, you got the Rams at 6-2, and you got the 49ers at 6-3. Whoever loses that game, with Seattle winning, there'll be a half a game back. I think they're going to want to stay on top of it. I think they're going to want to extend their lead in that Seattle. I'm talking about once they get it, because if they don't, you're going to be tied. If the Rams win, they're going to be tied with the Rams at 7-2. And then it's hard to get that separation that you want. And it's hard to get that separation that is definitely needed, you know, to make that playoff run. Um, so with that said, I will say this. I will say that it's going to be an interesting weekend. And like I said, a lot of it now, especially November, December, what they call football. This is where the they start making their playoff runs. This is where they start doing their everybody jockeying for position. Everybody's trying to get that separation. Everybody's trying to get, you know, to that point of saying, hey, we're ready. So we're going to see, and we're going to see what a lot of these teams are made of, especially this week. Again, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. We're going to be it's going to be good. And I just want, you know, I just want to see what's going to happen. I think that, you know, with everything that is happening, I think with everything, that with everything that's happening, I think that we're going to definitely see, what's going on and everything else. I do think that this week is going to be one of them weeks where we're going to where we're going to expect the unexpected. We're going to expect, you know, we're going to expect what I've been saying, and we're going to expect what I've been talking about for the longest. I do think that we are in that area now where a lot of teams is jockeying for that position and where a lot of teams is jockeying for that spot. I do think that once we once we see what teams is making what happen, what teams is doing their thing, I think a lot of the teams now will definitely, make their run, do their thing, and do what they're supposed to do and handle their business, especially with the way that the playoffs is showing up to be. I do have my guests on here, Will. Um, and again, I did my predictions, okay, my on what I think the playoffs is going to be. I think it's going to be um different but interesting. I think it's going to be um very entertaining. I do think it's going to be where we're going to see surprises that we didn't expect to see. So before I get in back into what I was, overly discussing and getting into and everything, Will, how are you looking at your playoff pictures and everything, and what do you think your teams is going to do? Okay, he was. I've been here. We having so much technical difficulties with this show. Why are we having so much technical difficulties with this show? Yeah, this show's gonna have to get shortened, but I don't know why it's giving me. Yeah, we was for some reason we was disconnected from the live. We was disconnected from the other streams, but now we're back on here. I was saying earlier about the playoff seedings and this week's thing that's going on with everything and the fact that it's week 10 and I got Will up in here. What is your take on, well, how does your playoff pictures look, and then what is your take on some of this week's games? He said,
Well, I'm gonna take a flyer on y'all this week and beating Detroit. I'm gonna take a gamble on that,
okay.
which I'm gonna keep my finger. I don't know if y'all gonna be able to, but I'm gonna I'm gonna roll with y'all this week.
And what makes you want to roll with us this week?
Any given Sunday,
Okay.
um, one game, one out of body experience.
He said one out of body experience. Wow. So it's one out of body experience. Okay. And
I mean,
and with that one out of body experience, what is it that you're seeing with that one out of body experience that is going that where you're saying, hey, I'm going to ride with y'all?
Marcus Mariota can have an out of body experience and go back 5 years. What 5 years when he was the starting quarterback, and just may have one of those moments.
Okay. I can agree with you on that one. And then especially given the way that Detroit's been playing these past 2 or so weeks, we do got some other guests that just popped in. And we had definitely started into week 10. So this is what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm gonna give you my AFC side, and I'm going to give you my NFC side of the playoff picture. Since it's November, December is basically where they start playing playoff football, and I'm going to give you my side on both, and just let me think, let me see, what you think about. Yeah, this may happen. Nah, that may not happen. So I'm going with the AFC first. My number one seed. I'm going with the Colts. I think the Colts is going to continue on the trajectory that they're on, where they're going to go up and keep going up. I think they may make a deeper run than what a lot of people think when it comes to the playoffs. My number two seed, I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't. The only reason why I'm not giving Kansas City that number one seed is because I don't see the defensive side of the ball being able to handle certain offenses, and actually I don't see them being able to handle that Colts offense. My number three seed, I'm going with the Patriots. The reason why I'm going with the Patriots is I like the way Mike Verbal is got this team coached up, how he got Drake May playing, and how he has, his defense and everything else going. My number four seed, and they're coming out of the north, and the only reason why I'm going with them is right now they have a lead, and if it's the Ravens win, they win. The Ravens win, they win. I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs, and I'm going to give them that division and give them the number four seed, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. My fifth seed, I'm gonna go with Buffalo. The reason why I'm going with Buffalo is I think New England is going to beat Buffalo and win that division, and that's going to force Buffalo into that fifth seed. My sixth seed, I'm going with the Denver Broncos. I think the way, as you say, that championship DNA, I think they got a good coach. That whole coaching staff and that coach on the sidelines is going to give them that, is going to put them in position where they're going to fight for that fifth, the sixth seed. And then my number seven seed is going to shock a lot of you. My number seven seed, I'm going with the LA Chargers. I think the LA Chargers, yeah, they're going to be that doormat, but they're going to be that team that is going to, you know, sneak into that's I ain't gonna say sneak. They're going to earn their right to get into the playoffs. And that's on my AFC side. What you think about that?
Hmm.
Hey, hey, Raider fan, lonely Raider.
How you doing, man?
And that's why I didn't pick the Raiders.
Hey, it's okay, man.
That's exactly why I didn't pick the Raiders.
Speak on the Raiders for a minute. The Raiders gonna be that team. It's gonna be a spoiler for one team that needs that one win to lock up the division. So I give that right there.
I agree. They probably will, and it will probably be something that may happen. I do think that the Raiders may shock a lot of people. They may not. I don't know, but all I know is
They're gonna cost somebody. They're gonna cost somebody the division or a playoff. berth or something.
Carlos, what do you think about that?
Well, we had an opportunity this past Thursday night to kind of turn the corner to become a little bit more united team, but it's just not there. And I'll say this, and then we'll go back into your ratings of the players. If we had went on and drafted four as the rebuilding starting with a young quarterback that has that ability to grow, be a force in the league, that would have made our vision that much more competitive. Because the younger players, we just don't have anybody to turn to. Mess up a whole team. Can mess up a whole team in the locker room. We just didn't. We didn't play well. You know, we're a C-rated team. And I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'm here for the win. You know, any given Sunday.
Right, right. And I get that. So and I'm gonna say this. I think I think Will is right, but I think what they're gonna do is gonna probably be somebody probably like Houston or somebody like that. It may even be, Cincinnati, but I think it's going to be one of them where they're not going. It's going to be where you expect the unexpected when it comes to the Raiders, and we'll see what happens. Now on the NFC side, that's the tricky side, and my top seven that I think is going to make the playoffs hands down is I got the Eagles as the number one seed. The Eagles is going to go
You didn't
in.
have a choice with that.
Well, no, not true. Not true. Not true. Not true. Not true. Because you're not bringing back you don't have your same offensive coordinator, and it just depends on which way that the pendulum swings. Um,
But Kellen Moore proved that last year that you can have a different offensive coordinator and still win. It's just the team buying into what he's putting out there
I agree.
and what he's trying to achieve.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I think. And
It
then
takes a season.
go
It
ahead.
takes a season for some teams and the new coaching staff to get together, especially when you've been put in a position to rebuild. You got to see what works and what's not clicking the personnel. It's a lot involved, and sometimes it takes the team a year or two, to come around and get the right pieces in there.
Hey,
I agree.
Mike,
Yeah.
can you, can you fix that feedback?
Yeah. I got it. I'm working on it now.
Okay.
Um. Um. I'm. I can also say this. I think with the way that Philly plays their style of football, I think that they're they can beat you either on the ground or they can beat you in the air. And I think that's where Philly is going to basically dominate at going into the playoffs. Um,
Absolutely.
right. My second one that I have, I'm gonna go with Green Bay. And the reason why I'm going with Green Bay is I don't trust the other two teams in the division. I don't trust Chicago, and I definitely don't trust Minnesota. But and that's going to get into my later picks, and I'll get into why I decided to go back to that division. My third seed, I'm gonna go with the Rams. I'm going with the Rams over the 49ers. I'm going with the Rams over Seattle because of the fact I think the Rams is going to be that team that is going to be hard to beat. I think the Rams is not going to be an easy out. And if they get into the second round, watch out, they will probably go to the championship game. It, and now it depends on who they play. Um, and again, if they got to go back to Philly, I think it's going to be one that is going to be definitely interesting and see this time what happens. My number 4 seed, I got Tampa Bay, of course, with that division and everything. The only team I think in that division that has a winning record is the Carolina Panthers, and they're like 5-4, something like that. So I'm gonna get them that hands down. My number 5 seed, I'm gonna go with Seattle as my number 5 seed. I think Seattle has earned that right, especially with the way that they're playing ball and the way that Sam Donald is controlling his offense. Number 6, I'm
I
going to.
wouldn't be surprised if Seattle's number 1 seed. Sorry to cut you off.
I don't think Seattle's going to be the number 1 seed because I don't think Seattle's going to win that division. I think the Rams are going to win that division.
Okay.
Yeah. Um.
Okay.
I got San Francisco at number 6, and the only reason why I got San Francisco at number 6, if San Francisco don't mess up and they make the right decision and they stay with Mac Jones as their starter, they're going to make some noise when they get into the playoffs, especially with Mac Jones.
Well, they're not going to stick with Mac Jones because Purdy's maybe coming back in a week or two.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that pans out. We will see how that pans out. Um, that's number
I'm
6.
gonna chime in and say this, Mike and Will. I'm gonna start looking at the playoff picture like on week 14. Because by then everybody is going to people, you're gonna have some other key injuries, and you're gonna see who the coach ability of your team and the coach staff to get you into the playoffs, depending on your position. So I'm gonna hold off on the playoff picks out to week 14.
Well, week 14, you already you darn near know. Because if you
Well,
look at it right now,
not necessarily.
yeah,
Not
actually,
necessarily.
because if you look at it right now, you got one. I'm gonna give you the count. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got between 6 and 7 teams that is going to have guaranteed winning seasons. If you win 9 games, it's a guaranteed winning season. So 9 games is going to get you in the playoffs. 9 wins is going to get you in the playoffs. And given the fact you got Denver, you got New England, you got I'm a, I'm looking at the list. You got the Colts. You got Tampa Bay. You got San Fran. You
Barring any injury, barring any injury, the team can falter.
Yeah, I do agree, but
It
it's November. Normally, you see the playoff picture by Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, you know exactly how the playoff picture is going to pan out. And like that's why I got San Fran. That's why I got San Fran at number 6. My number 7 seed, I want to go with Minnesota. I think Minnesota can sneak in and make it happen, but I'm gonna keep 7
Yes.
open for right now. But
That's how you feel.
I'm leaning more towards Minnesota for 7 than anybody else. So we'll see. What is your Will? Have you gone that far as saying, "Hey, this is what I think is going to happen," or this is my playoff picks?
I say this. In the words of Public Enemy, can't trust it. I want to phone. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't. You can't trust anything because injuries happen at any given time that may change the playoff picture, and you got to remember that. It can look like it's a sure thing, but in the final weeks of the season, all that changes.
I agree.
You,
I
you, gotta,
agree.
you gotta remember that.
I agree. I agree. Um, and so now that gets us into our week 10 picks, and then I'm going to go with the fact that we probably gonna have a limited questions and everything else this week, but we'll see. What I am going to say is these are very interesting picks. Just like last week was very interesting picks because a lot of us thought that certain teams were going to win, and come to find out they didn't. I know on Thursday, Will and myself went with Denver, and I know that y'all went with um we went with Denver and y'all went with the Raiders. I think the Raiders could have put that game out from what I was seeing, but as normal, they didn't. So I think that's something that is huh? So I'm
Denver, like I told you, certain teams have each other's number. They know how to play. They make it interesting. We just can't get over the hump.
okay.
So,
You're just a quarterback away.
Right, right. I do agree. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dive into the picks, and then I'm gonna dive into the
You're
announcement that's
getting
gonna
lower and
be.
lower, Mike.
I say we're gonna dive into the
Mike,
picks. I'm gonna dive into the picks, and then when I
I can't hear you. It's fading out. It's fading out.
can you hear me now? All right, I'm gonna get into the picks, and then once I get into the picks, we're going to and then I'm gonna see what everybody thinks, and but um I'm going with Carlos and Belinda. Their picks right now is they have the Falcons, the Browns, the Panthers, the Buccaneers. Carlos has the Ravens. My sister-in-law got the Vikings. They both got the Bills. They got the Bears. They got the Texans. They got the Seahawks. They got the Lions. Collins has the 49ers. My sister-in-law got the no, Collins got the Rams. I'm sorry. And Belinda, she has the 49ers. They both got the Steelers and they both got the Eagles. That's good. That's very interesting on that on them picks. That's
Another accident.
Will,
Pressure.
I'm gonna break yours down. You tell me, you tell us first game, the 9 o'clock game, the Colts and the Falcons. Who you got?
Falcons.
Carolina and New Orleans. Who you got?
Um, I got Carolina. I got Carolina.
You got Carolina. Um, the Bears and the Giants.
I'll take the Bears.
Houston and Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Miami and Buffalo. That's a no-brainer.
You know what? I'll take Miami.
Okay.
what?
Right.
Upset.
Minnesota. I already know who you're going to take on this one, so I don't even know why I'm saying it. Baltimore against Minnesota.
Man, come on. And Baltimore.
Baltimore, okay. Um, the Jets and the Browns.
Hmm. That's a hard question. I'll take the Jets.
Tampa Bay and the Patriots.
Patriots.
Seattle and Arizona. No, yeah, Seattle and Arizona.
Seattle.
Okay, San Fran and the Rams.
San Fran.
You taking San Fran over the Rams? Okay.
Yes.
Washington and Detroit.
Huh?
Washington and Detroit. Already know you going with the upset. You going with Washington. The Chargers and the
Yeah.
Steelers.
Chargers.
Interesting.
They're
Okay.
old and slow.
All right, Green Bay and Philly. Now,
Philly.
now, listen to this. I'm going to tell you this. This is both Chicago and Green Bay. They are expecting a snowstorm tomorrow. So remember that.
Oh, wow.
They are expecting a 90% chance of snow in both Green Bay and Chicago.
Both cold weather teams, so
That'd be good football, but it depends on what these young players can play in the cold.
Bingo. There you go. I'm not trusting Caleb Williams in the cold. I'm sorry. He came from USC.
They go for all 14.
Right.
All 14.
Right.
Young guys, they
So this is going to be my picks. I'm going with the Colts. I'm going with Carolina. I'm going with the Giants over Chicago. I think I think Jackson Dart is going to do his thing, but I think it's going to be a ground and pound game because of the snowstorm. I'm going with Jacksonville. I'm going with Buffalo. I'm going with Minnesota over Baltimore. The reason why I'm going with Minnesota over Baltimore is I got faith in my defensive coordinator over there, Brian Flores. I think Brian Flores is going to blitz heavy on Lamar just to do two things. Rattle Lamar, but also test his hamstring. They're going to do a lot of blitzing. I'm gonna go with Cleveland over the Jets. I'm not still sold on the Jets. They got rid of Sauce Gardner. I'm not sold on them. I'm gonna go with New England over Tampa. I think Mike Verbal crew is gonna go down to Tampa and enjoy that Florida weather, and they're gonna beat Tampa. I got Seattle over Arizona. I got the Rams over the 49ers. Like I said, the Rams are playing good ball right now. And I think the Rams, that running game, that passing game, is going to, you know, put the 49ers on their heels. Um, and since I'm going to the game tomorrow, I'm gonna go with Washington. I got them. I think that's gonna be an upset. I'm like you, Will. I think that game is gonna be an upset because I think Detroit is gonna come in on a high, thinking that they're just gonna walk
how
over.
you doing?
Um, the Chargers and Pitt, that's a game I don't want to touch, but I'm gonna touch it anyway. And I hate to say it, but I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to pull it out and show the young boy I might be old, but I'm wise. And I'm going with Green Bay over Philly. I'm going with Green Bay because of the weather. I think Green Bay, you playing in that frozen tundra, and they're gonna get a taste. And I think Philly is gonna get a taste of some real snow. What they played in when they played the Rams, that wasn't real. They're gonna get a taste of snow and cold weather. And they're gonna have to run the ball. So them are my them are my picks. And it's gonna be an interesting week. It's gonna be an interesting week 10. It's gonna be a fun week 10. And also, the other thing is what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out an invite to tomorrow. We are going to be live streaming tomorrow. I'm gonna be live streaming tomorrow up until kickoff time at the game tomorrow. So I'm gonna send out invites if anybody wants to get on the live stream.
Mike,
But
what was your pick with Carolina and Saints?
I got Carolina beating the Saints. I don't think the Saints I don't think the Saints ready. They're in rebuild mode. Um, I think Bryce Young is coming around. I think that running game is coming around with Rico Dalby and everybody. I think Carolina tasting a 5-4, and I think they're going to take that into saying, "Hey, Tampa might be a game and a half behind us, but we're going to stay on Tampa heels." But again, Tampa's going to win that division. I don't think Carolina is is coached well enough to win that division.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm in search of a perfect season of 17-0.
Hey, keep being like the Ravens in search of it because it just like their Super Bowl aspirations, it ain't gonna happen. Just like the Ravens Super Bowl aspirations, it ain't gonna happen. So good luck.
Yeah.
But again, I'm
Not
gonna send it.
tomorrow.
I'm gonna send the invite out. I'm gonna go live up until kickoff because after kickoff you can't broadcast it live. And again, we're going to be probably the first podcast game, the first podcast to do that to go live virtual. Um, and I'll send the invite out to everybody, and y'all get to see my lovely wife on the virtual stream. But we're gonna have fun tomorrow. We're gonna enjoy it, and I hope everybody enjoyed their games. And I'm definitely gonna be watching everybody picks.
Absolutely.
So with that, I appreciate everybody that was on here. I appreciate Will for being the co-host. I appreciate Collins and Belinda for coming in and giving their insight and stuff. And everybody that's been listening and watching on the live stream. Appreciate all of y'all. Love y'all. Y'all be safe. Y'all have a good weekend and enjoy this weekend's games.
Agreed.
Yep. All right. And I'll send out the invite for tomorrow.
Man.
All right, later.
All right, later.
All right.